Hello everyone. So in today's lecture we will discuss about the menus and types of menus and also the app bar and options menu. And after learning this lecture you will understand about what kind of menus are available in the Android Studio and also how to add the option menu in the app bar. Okay. So let's start from the understanding the types of menu and what type of menus are present. So guys, the menu is the set of option the user can select from to perform a functions such as searching of information, saving information, editing information, or navigate to the screen. So Android offers some following types of menus and which are useful for different situations. So guys, in this figure you can see here the first one is a option menu. So it appear in the app bar and provide the primary option that the affect using the app itself. Okay. So examples of a menu option is a search to perform the search, bookmark to save the link to the screen, and setting to navigation to the setting screen, right? Another one is context menu. So appears as the floating list of choice when the user perform a long tap on the element on the screen. And examples of options is edit to edit the element, delete to delete it, and share to share it over the social media. Okay. Next one is a contextual action bar. So it appear at the top of the screen, overlying the app bar with the action item that affect the selected elements. So take an example of menu option is a edit, share, delete for one or more selected elements. The fourth one is you can see here in the diagram. Fourth one is a pop-up menu and that appear anchored to the view, anchored to the view, such as an image button, and provide an overview of action or the second part of the two-part command. So for example of the pop-up menu is the Gmail app anchors of the pop-up menu to the app bar for the message view message view with reply all and forward. So these are the example of pop-up menu. Okay. So next is the app bar and option menu. The app bar, also called the action bar, is a dedicated space at the top of each activity screen. So when you create an activity from template, an app bar is automatically included for the activity in um, coordinator layout route and the view group at the top of the view hierarchy. So the app bar by default show the app title or the name defined in the Android manifest.xml by the Android level attribute for the activity. So it may also include the up button for navigating up to the parent activity, which is described in the next lesson. Okay, in the next chapter we will discuss about this, but here we will talk about the option menu in the app bar app bar that provide a navigation to the other activity in the app or the primary option that affect using the app itself. But listen, on not once that perform an action on an element on the screen. So for example, your option menu might provide the user choice for navigating to the other activities, such as placing an order for an placing an order for an action that have a global impact on the app, so such as changing setting or profile information. The option menu appear on the right corner of the app bar, right? So the app bar is a split into four different functions area. Okay, the first one you can see here in the image. The first one, this one is called as a navigation button or up button. So the navigation button in the space to open a navigation drawer, or use the up button for navigating up through your app screen hierarchy. So to the present activity, so both are described in the next lesson. Okay. uh, the second one, that is, you can see here in the diagram, that second one that is highlighted, the number 2, that is called a title. So the title in the app bar is a app title, or the name and the name defined in the android manifest.xml by the android level attribute for that activity, right? Third part you can see here, that is called action icon for the option menu. Action icon for the option menu. So each action icon appear in the app bar and represent one of the option menu, right? And represent one of the option menu, more frequently used item. So less frequently used option menu item appear in the overflow option menu, right? And the overflow option menus are the fourth part you can see here. The overflow option menu, the overflow icon open a pop up within a option menu item that are not shown as a icon in the app bar. So frequently used option menu items should appear as icon in the app bar. The overflow option menu shows the rest of menu. So guys, you can see in this figure, the first number is the app bar, second number is the option menu action bar, third number is the overflow button, and fourth number is options overflow menu. So let's understand what is app bar. So the app bar include the app titles and the option menu and the overflow button, right? And the second part that is highlighted, that is known as option menu action item. The first two option menu item appear as icons in the app bar, right? The third one, that is overflow button. The overflow button opens the menu that show more option menu item, right? And the fourth one, that is option overflow menu. After clicking the overflow button, more option menu item appear in the overflow menu, right? So adding the app bar, each activity that uses the default theme also has a action bar. So as its app bar, sometimes theme also set up an action bar as an app bar by default. So when you start an app from the when you start when you start and so guys, sometimes themes also set up on the action bar as the app bar by default. So when you start an app from the template such as empty activity and action bar appear as the app bar. So however as a feature were added to the native action bar over various android release. So the native action bar behave differently depending on the version of android running on the device. So for this reason, if you are adding an option menu, you should use version 7 app compact support library and toolbar for the app bar. So using a toolbar mask, it is easy to set up an app It is easy to set up an app bar that works on the widest range of device, and also gives you a room to customize your app bar later on your app develops. So toolbar include the most recent feature and work for any device that can use the support library. So in order to use toolbar as the app bar for an activity, do one of the following, right? Either start your project with the basic activity templates, and which implements the toolbar for activity as well as a rudimentary option menus, right? So you can skip this sections. So on another way you can do it yourself as shown in the section. Just first add the support library, that is app compact and design, and then use the no actions theme and style for the app bar and a background, right? And after that, add the app bar layout and toolbar for the layouts. So add code for the Android to set up the app bar. Next is adding the support libraries. So if you start an app project and basic activity templates, so templates add the following support library to you, and you can skip this step. So if you are not using basic activity template, add the app compact support library for the toolbar class and design the library for the no actions theme for your project. So just choose the tool, and after that, once you click the tool, you will find the Android, and just click on the Android, you will get a SDK manager, and just click on the SDK manager to check that the Android support repository is installed or not. If not, just install it and open the build.gradle file to your app, and just add the support library feature project and identifiers to the dependency section. For example, to include support app compact and support.design, just add compile com.android.support.appcompact dash version 7 colon 23.4.0. Here 23.4.0 is actually optional. Whatever be the latest version you have that time available, just write that version. And guys, this version number is very necessary, and it should be written at the current version. Okay. Next one is using the if you start your app project using the basic activity templates, so the templates add the theme to replace the action bar with a toolbar. So you can skip this step. So if you are not using a basic activity template, you can use the toolbar classes for the app bar by turning off and default action using a no actions bar theme for the activity. So theme in Android are similarly to style and export, except that they are applied to an entire app or activity rather than to specific view. So when you create a new project in the Android Studio, an app theme is automatically generated for you. For example, if you start an app project with the empty activity or basic activity templates, the app theme provided in the style.xml in the res to the value directory. Right. So, guys, you can modify the theme to provide a style for the app bar and the app background, so that the app bar is visible and stand out against the background. So you need to follow this step. So just open the style.xml file and you should already have the following file, right? This file contain definitely resource folder. Uh, in the resource element, just add the style tag, as you can see here. Inside the resource element, you just need to add the style tag, and style element inside the style element you need to add some attribute like name, that is assigned here as a app theme, and parent, the value of parent is assigned as a theme dot app compact dot light dot dark active bar, dark action bar. And also you can customize your theme here by adding a item, element, and in which you need to add some attribute like name, that is color primary, and you need to write which color you want to write here. So these things, these element you need to write in the style.xml file, right? So guys, app theme that taken a style from parents is called theme.appcompact.light action bar, right? So guys, after that, just add the app themes dot notification bar. So guys, that Android colon level equal to uh, at the rate string slash activity to underscore name. Okay. After that, just write attribute Android colon parent activity name equals to dot main activity, and after that Android colon launch mode equals to standard, and then just close the activity tag. So there are four launch mode available as the part of activity element. First one is standard, second one is a single top, third one is a single task, and fourth one is a single instance. So what is standard? Standard is actually the default. Okay. So the activity are launched and added to the back stack for the task, and an activity can be activity can be instead multiple times. Okay, instant multiple time, and single task can be multiple instance of the same activity. So a multiple instance can belong to the different task inside the standard mode. Next one is a single top mode. If the instance of an activity exists at the top of the back stack for the current task, and then intent request for that activity arrives. So and Android route that intent to the existing activity existing activity instance rather than creating a new instance. So a new activity is still initiated if there is an existing activity anywhere in the back stack, so other than the top. Okay. Next type is a single task. Okay. So when the activity is launched, the system creates a new task for that activity. So if another task already exists with an instance of the activity, the system launch the if another task already exists when the if another task already exists with an instance, and that activity have same roots of the intent that have an activity instance. So single instance, except that the system does not launch any other activity into the task holding the activity instance. So the activity is always the single one, and the only the member of its task. So the vast majority of a app will only use the standard or single top launch mode, and the documentation of more detailed information on the launch mode is uh, first one is a intent flag. So intent flag are the option that actually specify how the activity that receive and intent should intent should handle that intent should handle that intent. So intent flag are defined at constant in the intent class, and belong with the word flag underscore. So you add intent flag to an intent object with the set flag method or a add flag method. So the specific intent flag are used to control activity launch mode, either in conjunction with the launch mode attribute or the place of it. So intent flag always take place over the launch mode, over the launch mode. Okay. So in the case of conflicts, flag activity underscore new task. So start the activity in a new task. This is the same behavior. This is the same behavior as a single task launch mode. So flag activity single top. If the activity is to be launched, the top of the back stack, the root of the instance to the existing activity instance, and otherwise create a new activity instance. And this is the same behavior as the single top launch mode. Next one is a flag underscore activity underscore clear top. So if the instance of the activity to the launch activity is already exists, so in the back stack it destroy any other activity on the top of it, and just root the intent that existing instance. So when used in conjunction with the flag underscore activity underscore new underscore task, this flag locate any existing instance of the activity in any task or bring to the foreground. So you can see the intent class for more information about the intent flag. Okay. And Another point is how to handle a new instance. So when an Android system root an intent to the existing activity instance, the system call the on new intent callback method. Just before the on resume method, the on new intent method include an argument for the new intent. So that was rooted to the activity. Otherwise the on new intent method in your class to handle the information from that new intent. So note that the get intent method to get access to the intent that launch an activity, and it always retain the original intent to launch the activity instance. So it actually call the uh, set intent method in the new intent method. And it looks like that firstly it override that, and then public void on new intent method it's called, and in which it pass intent, and then it writes super dot on new intent, in which it pass intent object, and use the new intent, not the original one. Okay. And after that it calls set intent method, in which it pass the intent object, and just close them. So any call to get intent after this return are the new intent. Okay, so next is task affinities. What is task affinity? Task affinity actually indicate with the which task and activity prefer to belong where the activity instance is launched. So by default all the activity will belong to the app that launch them. So activity from outside an app launches with implicit intent. so belong to that app and send the implicit intent the to default to define the task affinity at the android add the android colon task affinity attribute to the activity element in the android manifest. So the default task affinity in the package name of the app, and it declare the new task, and name should be unique and different from the package name. So let's take an example that uses the com.example.android.myapp.new task for the affinity name. Okay, so for the affinity name. So first call the activity tag, and inside that just write some attribute like first name attribute, level in attributes, and parent activity name attributes. So first of all, in a name attribute, just pass the dot second activity as a value, and then in the level, just pass the at the rate string slash activity to underscore name, and in the parent activity name just pass the dot main activity, and after that task affinity equal to com dot example dot android dot my app dot new task. So here my new task is written as a affinity name, and after that close the activity tag. So task affinity, so the task affinity are often used to conjunction often used to conjunction will be the with the single task, and launch with the flag activity new underscore task, and the intent flag to place a new activity in the own name task. So if there are a new task already exists, the new task already exists, the intent is rooted to that task, and rooted to that task, and to task and that affinity. So another use of task, and another use of task attribute is requesting, which enables the task to move from the activity, and with activity it was launched in the activity. So it has an affinity for enable the task representing. So add the task affinity attribute to the activity elements, and set the android colon and allow task representing to true. So you need to first call the activity tag. So inside the activity tag you need to write some attribute, that is first name attribute, level in attribute, and the same. So in the first name attribute you need to write the name of that activity. So as we know that we are calling the second activity, so write the name as a dot second activity, and that in the level attribute write at the rate string slash activity to underscore name, and then in the parent activity name just write dot main activity, and then task affinity equal to com dot example dot android dot my android dot my app dot new task. So android allow task to represent um, Android colon allow task representing equal to true, and then just close the activity tag. So there are so many related practicals are there, that is activity and implicit intent, activities and implicit intent. So guys, you can try that task, and just uh, do that practical on the Google Android Studio. Next we will learn about next we are switching to the Android Studio debugger. So debugger is the process to define and fixing the error to unexpected behavior of your code. So all the code have bugs, from incorrect behavior in your app. So to behavior that consume memory or a network resource, and to actual app freezing or crashing. So bug can result of many reason. So first one is error in your and error in your design or implication, and Android framework limitations, or missing requirements, or missing requirement or assumption for how the app should work. And also the device limitations. So use the debugging testing and uh, profiling capabilities in the Android Studio to help your um, procedure to find the resolve all these problems. So like these capability also include the Android monitor, Android Studio debugger, and testing frameworks such as JUnit or Espresso. So Delvik debug monitor server to track resource uses. And in this chapter, you will learn how debug your app with the Android Studio debugger. So set the view back point, and steps through your code, and examine. Examine variables. So running the debugger, running an app is debug mode is similar to just running that app. So we can earlier run an app in debug mode, and attach the debug to already running app. So for running that app, you need to start the debugging, and just call the debug in the toolbar. So in the Android Studio, in the Android Studio, you need to build an APK, and single it to debug the key installation. Okay, so once you run that, so you can resume that. You can also resume that uh, activities. Okay, so guys, so there are many more option to uh, there are many more option. We can manage the task of that activity. So in the so we can in this our app is actually contain its own stack, right? So the activity can run has a visited while they use the app. So as a user navigate around an app, activity launches for that task are paused, and also popped from the stack to the task. And most of the time the user navigation from activity to activity and back again through the stack is straightforward. So depending on the design and navigation of the app, there may be complaints, and especially with the activity that are started from the other app and other tasks. So for example, say you have an app with a three activity, that is A B C, and a launcher B with the intent, and B launches C. So C is in the turn sent to the intent to the A. So in this case, the system creates a second instance of A in the top of the stack, and rather than bringing already running instance to the foreground. So depending on how you implement your activity, the two instance it can get out of synchronize, and provide a confusing experience for the for the user, and they navigate and they also navigate back through the stack. So guys, we can say that the activity C can be launched from the second app in the implicit intent, and the user run the second app within which has own task and its own back stack. So that app uses an implicit intent to launch your activity, launch your activity C, and a new instance of C created the place or the backstick for the second app task. So you will still has its own task and its own backstack and its own instance of C. So much of the time of the Android default behaviors for task and activity work fine and don't have any worry about how the activity are associated with the task, or how they exist in the back stack. So if you want to change the normal behavior, Android provide a number of way to manage a task and the activity with the which those tasks including. So first one is a activity launch mode, and second one is a affinity task affinity. So uses activity launch mode to indicate how new activities should be treated when they are launched. So that that is if they should be added to the current task or launched to the new task. So it defined the launch mode for the activity, which attribute of the activity element that the Android manifest or the flag set to the intent that start an activity. So that's why the activity attribute define the launch mode for the activity that add the Android launch mode attribute for the activity element and the Android manifest. So for the example, it you can write in the standard mode or a default mode for the launcher. So there are mainly mode of launcher mode are available for the activity element. Okay, so first one is a standard, and the new activity are launched. A new activity are launched, and that have a that had added to the and that had added to the back stack of the current task. An activity can be installed multiple times, and a single task can have a multiple instance of the same activity, or a multiple instance can have a can belong to the different task. So a single top if the instance of the activity exists in the top of the back stack for the current task, and the instance current task for an internet request for that activity arrives. So Android route that the intent to existing activity instance rather than the creating a new instance. So a new activity is still in still instant if there is an existing activity. So anywhere if the back stack or other than the top. So a single task also, in which single task launcher is also a mode. So where the activity is actually launches the system creates a new task in the Android activity. So for another task already exists with an instance of activity, the system routes the instance to the activity instead. So single instance and same as the single task expect that the same doesn't launch. So any other activity though so the any other activity into the task holding the activity instance, and the activity is always activity is always the single and only um, member of the task. The vast majority of app will um, only uses the standard or single top launch mode in the instant intent tag. So if the so intent flag are option that specify how the activity that actually receive the intent should handle that intent. So intent flags are defined as constant in the intent class and begin with the world flag. So we can add intent flag to an intent object and a set flag or a add flag method. So we have mainly three launch mode for that. The first one is flag activity underscore new task, flag activity underscore single top, and flag activity underscore clear top. So new task it start the activity in the new task, and this is the same behavior as the single task launch mode. Okay, and in the single top, if activity single top in the flag activity single top, if the activity is on launched is at the top of back stack, so it route the intent to that existing activity instance and otherwise create a new instance. So this is the same behavior as the single top launched mode, and the instance of the activity is to be launched already exists of the back stack and destroy any other activity on the top of it, and it route the intent to that existing instance. But when it used in the conjunction with the flag activity and the new task, the flag locate an existing instance of the activity in the task is bring to the foreground. Okay, guys. So here is a reference book. Android programming cookbook. You can learn Android step by step by from the Android programming cookbook, and here are some quizzes for the homework. First, learn this lecture, and after that, just do this homework. Here you can see that the XML file that contain all the text are your application uses, in which four options are given, that is stack.xml, text.xml, string.xml, and string.java. Today we learn about this in the which XML file we actually contain all the text of your application. So what is the manifest.xml in the Android? So in the today's lecture we are talking many times about the many time about the manifest.xml file. So here are four options that it has the information about layout in the application, and it has the information about activity in an application. So it has all information about an application. So next question is, how many size are supported by the Android? So Android support all the sizes. Android doesn't support all size, and Android support small and the normal, large, and extra large size. So size is undefined in the Android. Okay. So guys, what is your answer? How many size are supported by the Android? What do you say? Next is how you pass the data between activity in the Android. Oh, this is a very easy answer. Okay, a very easy question. You can easily get the answer because today we already learned about this. So option is intent, content provider, broadcast receiver, and none of the above. Next question is, how is the difference between margin and padding in the Android layout? So guys, In the design field, you know that the margin and padding of the Android layout are defined. So there here are the four options, that is margin is specifying the extra space left in all the four side of the layout. Padding is the use to offset the content of a view by a specific pixel and dp. Another option is both A and B are correct, and D is none of the above. So, what's your answer? Next one is what is manifest.xml in the Android? So, guys, tell me the answer. Next one is what is padding? What is padding intent in the Android? So it is kind of intent. Second option is it is used to pass the data between activity. Third one is it will fire at the 4 point of time, and fourth option is none of the above. So guys, what do you think? What is the answer? Okay, for today's this is over. In the next class, we will learn about the debuggers.